Hello friends, and welcome. My name is Britt, and I make art and journaling content. And today we're doing a mid-year check-in on my journaling. I'd like to welcome you back if you're a usual viewer. I haven't made a video in a couple of months, so I'm glad to be back, and it's nice to see you all again. And today we're gonna look at the couple of journals that I've been using in the last couple of months because a couple things have changed. However, the main part of this video is going to be a flip through of my main journal, and this has not changed. This is what I've been using since the beginning of the year. It's a Hobonichi original. It's A6 size, and I do my personal journaling and also all my planning in here. And she's getting nice and thick, so that's what I like to see. I like a nice chunky journal. So I think we will get started, and then I'll just mention a couple of short things about these guys at the end. One thing before we get started, this is actually extra thick today because you'll be seeing some post-it notes that I've put in here to censor personal information and a little bit of extra washi tape. So she's actually not quite this thick under normal circumstances, but so far the thickness isn't really bothering me. So let's start off in the beginning. So in the beginning of this particular planner, there's this calendex, I guess some people call it. It's kind of the entire year in this vertical format like that. What I've decided to use it for is a habit tracker and a sleep tracker. So I have this little sleep graph on this side and just some habits over here, and I just put a dot when I do the thing. This tan color is my cycle. I have a lot of health things that are affected by that, especially my sleep, so I wanted to easily see how those things were connected, so that's why I decided to highlight across it like that instead of just marking it with a dot. A lot of people use this beginning part as their habit tracker, and I'm not really great at keeping up with this every single day, but I do have a Fitbit that I wear to sleep, so that records all my sleep and my exercise for me, so I can just copy it into here from that and get a nice visual. And then the other things like meds and my mood and stuff, I can usually remember that and put it in. So this has been working really well for me. This is the most that I've ever tracked in my life and kept up with, so I think that's good. Excuse me if you hear any noises, some thumping or sounds in the background. My dogs are here, and also we have some construction going on outside, unfortunately. But since it's been so long since I made a video, I just wanted to make it so I can get it out to you. Okay. The next thing that's in this journal is the monthly pages. So these are just monthly calendars. You might have seen some of my other videos. I started out making setup videos for these every month. I used to use a bullet journal as my planner, and I would do these elaborate art setups. And I'm not really doing that anymore. And the reason that I'm not doing that anymore is because I've kind of moved my art practice. So now I'm using a sketchbook and making actual, finished pieces of artwork as my art practice. Previously, my whole art outlet was my journals. So I'm not really doing my art in my journals anymore. I've kind of minimalized my journals a little bit and made them a little more simplified. So that's a little update on the channel if you're confused as to why I'm not making the same journal content that I used to be making. They're kind of separated now. So my journal content is a little bit more functional and a little bit more minimalistic, and my art videos will just be art videos. I wasn't really able to keep up that creative practice in both places. So I really needed to just focus it in one area and then do some more personal journaling and planning on the other side of things. So this is the beginning of the year, so I was still decorating a lot at this point because I was still making some setup videos at the beginning of the month, and I had these little themes and I was trying to match them to the colors that the Hobonichi assigns, so you can kind of see on the edge here. They have colors each month. What I did is I just used this as my appointments, simply appointments, and then a little bit of memory keeping, like we went to the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art this day, took our dogs to the park that day, so I just kind of backfilled in a couple of main things that happened that day, but mostly this is just appointments and when I was gonna release my YouTube videos. So that's it. Pretty standard usage. There's February. This is washi tape shop washi tape. I did use it for a couple months. They were kind enough to send me some, and I do have a code, discount code for 10% off if you're interested in washi tape. I don't really use it all that much, so it's only in here for a couple of the months, but I wanted to try it out, see how it went. May, I did some more drawing, and you can see that I don't always fill these out. That's fine. I don't really care if this is completely filled in or not. That doesn't bother me. I had been tracking my YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram subscriber count, and I decided that that's not really healthy for me to be focusing on, so I stopped doing that. June is the last month that I did kind of like a design for it. And this is the last YouTube video that I've put out. So before this one was June 6th, and now it's August. So I had quite a bit of burnout and a little bit of mental health things that I needed to deal with. So I took a little bit of a break. I'm doing good now. Nothing to worry about, but I just really needed a break from things. This is where I stopped doing themes for the months, and I just started using kind of the color, and that's it. And I just glued this paper in here just for something a little extra on the side, like after the fact. So, but I'm continuing how I use this. So these are appointments. This is an art class that I started taking at the local community college, and actually I'm going to be kind of doing art school through the community college. So I think I might make a video and talk about that more, because the community college is like an amazing resource that I didn't really know was there for learning art. So in the fall, I'm going to be taking watercolor 1 and also beginning drawing. So that's going to be really interesting. Actually, I'm going to stop here because this is just going to be the first 6 months of the year. So we'll do the other 6 months at the end of the year. So we're going to skip past the rest of these monthlies. And then all the Hobonichis have this turning the page to the new year, this blank part at the beginning. And I didn't do anything in here until like this week. And I got my first fountain pen that I've ever had. So I just copied out a Mary Oliver poem as a practice. And that's it. This is the fountain pen, if you're interested to know what it is. This is a Pilot Kakuno. I really like it. I think it's mainly meant for children to learn how to use a fountain pen, but I like the design. A lot of people don't like this. It's kind of chunky looking, but I don't really like the traditional look of a fountain pen. I like things to be kind of more modern looking, so I actually kind of like how this looks. And it's really nice. It's Pilot. It's really high quality nib, and it's super cheap. Like, I think you can get this for like $12, $13, something like that. All right, and then now we're moving on to the daily pages. So in this particular journal, you just have the monthly pages, and then you get 1 page per day, like this. I think for next year, I will be moving to the bigger one, because this was an experiment for me to try out journaling for the first time. Never in my life have I ever like logged my daily stuff of just like what I'm thinking or what happened that day. I've literally never done that. I only did it like a few times when I was a teenager. And then I felt like, oh, this is so cringy. I sound so stupid. I don't like this. So and then I stopped doing it and I never tried again. But now I'm finding this to be really relaxing activity for me. And it really helps me keep my memories because my memory is not that great. And I can't always remember when I did something. And I'm just really having a good time with it. So I'm looking forward to having a little bit of a bigger page size to put some more stuff in there for next year. So this is the cover page for January, and you will see again the themes kind of break down over time. So we're just going to flip through. If I see anything interesting, I'll point it out, or if I think of anything, I'll point it out. Before we flip through here, I forgot to say at the beginning, any of these materials, paper, markers, pens, whatever, I will link in the description box if I remember what it is and if it's still available. So you can check that out down there. I did print out a couple of pictures of my own artwork and stuck them in here if it was something that I liked that day. Every once in a while I do that. And sometimes I have my tasks and appointments along the side here. And sometimes I don't. It just depends on how I felt that day. I got a stamp, so I was testing that out. And that's also when I got my new Fitbit. So you can see that this has like a reddish color as the color that was assigned by the Hobonichi for January. So I kind of tried to follow that a little bit with these stickers. And this is censoring of private information, so that's what that'll look like if you see that. I did do some doodling in here. Oh, these were more of my pictures from my sketchbook. And if you want to see a full flip through of that, I have a bunch of sketchbook flip throughs that I will link for you, so you can see like the actual close-ups of those if you want to. Some more of my art that I liked. And, you know, this is like kind of aesthetic, kind of not aesthetic. A lot of times I would just write, and then if I had extra space or I didn't have that much to say, I would just fill it in with something. So I wasn't really spending a ton of time on these spreads. That's my dog, Chai. That's the first time he got a poodle haircut. Didn't look very good at the beginning, but looks better now. This is a Monet painting. This was at the Legion of Honor Museum in San Francisco. That's the first time we went there. I drew a skunk. See, like this. I think this looks nice, and all I did was stick 2 pieces of paper in here, and then I wrote. So if you want it to look nice and you want it to look full, like just slap some stuff in there. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be intimidating. Like I said, this is the first time I did it. It was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. I didn't need to be so intimidated by it. The same thing here. I just slapped some little pictures in that I had a certain pack of paper that I got off of Amazon, and that's it. February. So the color was brown from Hobonichi. So I decided to do kind of a mushroomy, celestial, and like Art Nouveau. I don't know. They don't really go together, but I liked how it looked. And then I used these little labels, craft paper labels for the big appointments or the holidays. This is the first time I did a little doodle of like what I was actually doing that day, where I was talking about reading these books. The doodle did not turn out so good, but it was, you know, practice. So this is like marker with colored pencil over the top. I don't really like how it looks, but I was trying something out. And yeah, so on this channel, I try to make things look nice so that I can like flip back through it and enjoy flipping back through it and looking at it and using it. But I'm trying to do it with like as little amount of pressure and effort necessary. So for this week, I had a lot of things I needed to do, so I made a weekly tasks and just like dumped everything out right there. That was useful. So like here, you can see I kind of fell off for a little bit of writing my daily entries in, and that's totally fine. And it was empty for a while. And then at the end of February, actually at the end of every month, I kind of do this. If I miss some days, I just leave it blank till the end of the month. And then at the end of the month, I come back and I collage a couple things in, and that's a nice, fun, relaxing activity. And it fills in the empty pages for me, so I have something to look at when I flip through. Hang in there. Little note to myself. Again, on this day, I just used it for a little task list and didn't write anything, so I came back and collaged. Slapped a huge picture on that one. So you can see I go through phases of writing a lot and then not writing so much, so totally fine. You use your journal however you like, however it works for you. I'll also have some pictures of artwork in here, and I will let you know who it is. So my partner and I are members at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, and they send like a brochure every quarter, and there's pictures of the new artwork or whatever they're showcasing in there. So I cut all of those out and used them as decoration in here because we go there a lot, and I love art. I'm an artist, so I'm gonna not pronounce this correct, but I'm gonna try. Kunye Sugiuna, one of her photographs / paintings, photo paintings. This is when I received my package from the washi tape shop, so I stuck some of their cute stuff in there. And then moving on to March. So this is the first time I used the washi tape shop for a monthly setup. And then you'll also see a lot of kind of space and astronomical stuff. And what I did is I still had my beginning, like entry-level astronomy textbook from when I did my undergrad 20 years ago. That's how old I am. And so I still had it. It's out of date. It's 20 years old. Nobody wants it. So I cut it up and took all the space pictures out to use. So I did continue with this kind of purplish theme for a little bit. A couple of doodles there. Another picture from my sketchbook. Another one from my sketchbook. This day I was measuring all the cushions of all the chairs and sofas and things in our living room because I was going to order covers for them. So that I just threw that in here. Like, this is also notes for things if I need to take notes on something. This is Ruth Asawa. This is a photograph by Catherine de Thiel from 1948. I had a big gap here, so more stuff from the museum. This is another Kunye Sugiura. This is Sonia Noskoviak. This is a photograph of the poet Langston Hughes, so I put a little quote of his over here. This is Carol Walker. A little colored pencil doodle. More colored pencil doodle. This is Sheila Hicks. This is the art from one of my reading journal setups. So if you want to see that video, I'll also link that. And if you want to see me drawing this, you can watch that. More Kunye Sugiura. That's me. Void Cats, one of my favorite things in that sketchbook for that month. This is Jim Jacoy, photographer. And then we're on to April. So for April, I also used some of this washi tape, and it was like a fruity, citrusy theme. So I thought that would be appropriate for springtime. And it kind of went with the pink color that the Hobonichi had in here. This is Rupi C. Tut. I just put a random definition of the word palimpsest because I just liked that word and I wasn't sure what it meant. So I wrote it in there. This is all Ruth Asawa. This is her from the 1950s or 60s is when this photograph is from. They have a retrospective going on at San Francisco Museum of Modern Art we went to. So I did a full spread of some of her things. So yeah, you can see like, just depends on the day what I'm doing. If I ended up not actually doing the thing, I crossed it out. Or if I canceled it, I crossed it out. This is Neocolor 2, which is like a crayon. This is testing out one of those rainbow lead pencils. It's like a colored pencil, but the lead is like all different colors and it changes as you go. So this is right before I went on a trip back home to visit some people and deal with some family things and stuff like that. So I made a packing list in here to make sure I didn't forget anything. And then to-dos that I needed to do before I left. And then a lot of this is going to be censored because this is private information about other people and family members and things that happened. While I was there, my best friend and I went to an art store, and so that's swatches of the things that I got. I got some Conte pencils and some color pencils. So yeah, all this writing is censored. These photographs are from Longwood Gardens. I went there with my family. That's a huge botanical garden close to Philadelphia. So I used those as my decoration for a few days. And then we get to May. This is a marker and colored pencil drawing that I did of a rabbit, and this color was green, so I thought that would work. And then this is kind of, when I got back from this trip, this is kind of when my mental health took a bit of a nosedive. So you'll see some, like a lot of pages that I didn't really write anything or things that are censored because I was complaining about things. So yeah, I didn't write anything here, so I'd put more art. This is David Huffman. This is Tara Kroniak. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. Cinco de Mayo. Here I was just doing some squiggly doodles. I really like to doodle like this with just a black pen. Make these kind of wiggly guys, and then I ended up using that later on, you'll see, as my June theme in here. More art, Suzanne Jackson, Alejandro Cartagena. And this is Ruth Asawa. This is a random photo out of a magazine. This is when I was working on the 100 Heads Challenge. I spent like a month making that video, and that's the last video that I made. I really burned myself out on that video. That's when you try to draw 100 heads in 10 days. Was not prepared for the difficulty of that. That was a lesson for myself, not to push myself so hard. So we learned that. So these are just photographs of some of the things I drew those days because I did not have the energy to write much. This is Frank Stella. This is another day we went to MoMA. We go a lot. It's a very relaxing place, I feel. Yeah, you got a membership. You got to use that membership, you know? And this, yeah, this was completely empty, so I just came back later and doodled on it with Tombow marker, which is a water-based marker. This day I watched the movie The Lighthouse. It's a really weird movie. I liked it a lot, but it's very dark and very strange, but it's right up my alley. And then this day we went and saw the San Francisco Symphony. We saw The Firebird by Igor Stravinsky, which is like one of my favorite symphonies. I used to be a musician back in my teens and a little bit in my 20s, so I've actually played this before. It's one of my favorites. Moving on, Memorial Day. More things from brochures. I think this is Edward Manet. That might be also. Nice green goes with the theme. And then June. So this will be the last month that we look at right now. And then, as I said before, at the end of the year, I will do a flip through of July through December. And this is my little squiggly guy setup that I mentioned earlier. And I'm a huge fan of Keith Haring. So this is a little bit of inspiration from him. This is Rupi C. Tut. And I really was in the thick of it in June, so I just covered pages with things. This is a Ansel Adams photograph of the San Francisco Bay. This is Angela Hennessy. Oops, sorry about that. This is Ruth Asawa. This is a random cutout from a magazine. This is Ruth Asawa. More random California pictures out of a magazine. And then here I started taking notes. So I started taking a group class from that my insurance pays for it's about executive functioning for people with ADHD. I don't have an official diagnosis, but I highly suspect that I have ADHD. So that was interesting. We're just learning about coping mechanisms and different ways you can work on some of those things, make things easier for yourself. This is Dong Kingman. This is a watercolor. Oh, that's one of mine. This is a bigger piece that I did. I have it hanging up on the wall in my house now. Just random washi tape. So took the dogs to the park that day. This is another picture out of that astronomy textbook. Angela Hennessy again. And the last day of June. And then my July cover page. So we're going to stop here. All right, we're going to flip to the back. Let's see. In the back, there's these like extra bonus pages that the Hobonichi gives you, like a timetable, if you have like a school schedule. I just swatched some things back here. And then the My 100 page, it's just 100 lines with checkboxes. I just put different things here, places, food, restaurants, movies, journaling prompts, in case, just different things I might want to do. I wrote down my fare, and that's pretty much it. So that is my journal for 2025 up until June. So before we end, let's look at the other ones real fast. And here are my other two new notebooks. I just got these in the last month or so. This is my new 2025 reading journal. I was using a really big journal as my reading journal before for the first couple months of the year. See, it doesn't even fit in the frame, it's so big. And I was doing, artistic stuff in there. But as I mentioned earlier, I kind of separated my journaling and my artistic stuff apart. And so I started this instead and kind of backdated it. So I'm going to make another video and go over this guy and how I made a more minimal reading journal for 2025. And I'm really happy with this. I'm really enjoying using this. And I'm actually reading more because the pressure of the big one is no longer in play. So that's nice. And then this guy, I just started doing morning pages for the first time, and I'm finding that very relaxing and kind of meditative. So I got this is just a blank grid notebook from Hobonichi, A5 size. And then for the first page here, I decided to do a little bit of a key, like how people do in commonplace books, to kind of mark what the page is for. So this tan color is for morning pages. This brown color is for therapy notes, emotional work, like CBT exercises I might do, things like that. Pink is additional daily journaling. So if I run out of space for the day in the other one, but a lot of stuff happened that day, I can write a little extra in here. And then this purple color is miscellaneous. So this is not something that I'm going to flip through at the end of the year and show to everybody, because this is very personal information. And one of the things about doing morning pages is that it's supposed to be a stream of consciousness. You're not supposed to censor yourself or anything like that. You're just supposed to let it flow free and not show it to anybody so that you can be free. But I will show you the first page because it's just a miscellaneous page. So this is my testing page for that fountain pen that I just got. So you can see how I've been marking things. I just used a pencil and made a little margin on the side of the pages. I put the color dot here for miscellaneous, and then I just stamp it with my date stamp that I love over here. And that's how I'm going to do things. So like, this is how it looks on one of the morning pages. So that's how I'm using this one, and that has been a good time. So that's the end of this video. As I mentioned, I will be making another one for this reading journal. It's probably next week that will be coming out, so check it out. Just an update for the channel. I will be making fewer videos per month now so that I can avoid the burnout again. I was making a video every single week. That's a bit too much for me, especially since I'm going to be taking art classes now. So I'm going to aim for 2 videos a month, and we'll see how that goes. So thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like. If you'd like to see more of my content, you can always hit that subscribe button as well. We'd be happy to have you here. I hope you have a great rest of the summer or the winter if you're in the southern hemisphere, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.